Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lynn and I just got finished recording the first look at the We Are Makers. This is the ButtonPress puffy sticker and shaker insert, and I did a first look video where I crafted with this for the first time, and I made a couple of the sample that they gave us. So this is the puffy sticker and this is the shaker, which I did customize a little bit with that outer frame. But as I was recording that first look video, I was thinking, and initially I thought the refills only had like a third less than they actually do have in them, and that's not actually the case, but all the same, if you don't want to have to keep buying more inserts, then I think I have it figured out how to make more of this. This is the shaker insert, and this is pretty easy. The puffy sticker insert's pretty easy relative to the shaker one. So let's first get started with the pattern paper. So I'm gonna pick this tree to be the center of my shaker, and I'll just cut that down to size roughly. And then this is the die that comes in the insert, and that's going to cut that scallop circle perfectly. So I'll just press and rotate maybe 2 or 3 times. It probably was able to cut all the way through on the first go, but sometimes if it doesn't, then you just want to give it an extra little press. What I like to do is I just try to hold it and then push through the center to see if it's released completely. And if it hasn't, if you haven't moved it, you should be able to just place it right back in and press. And I have found that it is helpful to actually stand up and push down. That does help quite a lot. Okay, so that piece you would need to do in any case, whether you are creating your own insert or you're using a pre-made one. That's going to be, this is the finished shaker. So that's the bit of decorative cardstock on the back, so inside the shaker. Then what you want is this. This is the refill, and all it is a frame with some acetate and then a foam shaker well. So I happen to have 2 dies that cut out roughly that same foam well. Now the smaller of the 2 dies is 1 1/16 of an inch, and this is the inside of that, and it fits perfectly. So this is exactly the same size as the inner aperture there. The larger of the 2 dies, now this is actually, mine is actually a little bit bigger than the foam, but the pre-bought, but it's close. This is 1 and I guess 7/16, 1 7/16, whereas I think this is 1 3/8. Yeah. This is 1 3/8. So it's a 1/16 of an inch bigger, not a lot bigger. So to recreate that, store-bought or, you know, the pre-made insert, what I need is actually 3 different pieces. I need the decorative frame on the outside. I need acetate, clear acetate, and then I need this foam shaker well. So I'll show you how to do all of those. This is probably the easiest. This, you just need some clear acetate, and you can use the same die that we use to cut the decorative paper, we can use to cut this acetate. So get that cut. And I heard it crunch, but I'll go ahead and press again. Okay, so look at that. Cut right through the acetate. Okay, so we've got our acetate. Now we need our decorative frame. That could be anything. So I have, let's see, what do I have? I've got this. What color frame do I want? Well, High Supply sent me a lot of goodies. If you saw my unboxing, you'll know. This is washi sheet. So there's adhesive behind here, and initially I love getting the basics. There were some black and various different metallics and a white. And black might be a nice frame around that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere a little bit of washi to a square that I know will be large enough. So let's just make sure I cut something large enough. That's good. Okay. This is just a bit of cardstock. And it's actually thick. Maybe, let me try to find thinner cardstock. See, this is, yeah, this is thinner. I'm gonna use thinner cardstock because I don't know if that's gonna make a difference, but this is not super thick. But I also think that the pre-made insert is, I think it's vinyl, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna stick a little bit of washi to this, just so that we have, you could use black cardstock too, but this washi is nice. It already has an adhesive back to it, so it'll be really easy to get this stuck onto here. And that way I can make a nice black frame around my shaker. And then, so what I want to do is I want to get some adhesive on this side because I need to stick my acetate onto this. So I'm going to get some double-sided adhesive sheets. And I'm going to stick that to this side. Now, my adhesive, my washi already had an adhesive back to it, but the washi felt just a little too thin, and I'm not sure once it gets pressed if it's gonna hold up okay. So that's why I wanted to back it with some cardstock. Alright, so then let's get some adhesive onto this. And okay. I mean, it's a lot of steps, but if it saves you from having to buy more inserts, maybe you just want to make like a couple and not have to buy like a huge pack. Okay, now what do we need to do? So now we need to cut this the same way that we've been cutting the acetate, the pattern paper, because it all has to sandwich together and fit together. Okay, so we have that. And then now what we're doing right now is trying to recreate this. And this has the circle aperture, that little window. So I need to cut that. So I'm going to use the smaller of my two dies. So this is 1 1/16. And just kind of eyeball this to be roughly centered. Okay, then we're gonna have to make one of these. And as you can see, I kind of experimented, and I think I can get something pretty close to the actual insert there. So now we have a frame. It has acetate on the back, and we've got it has adhesive on the back, and then we have our acetate. Now we need to make our shaker well. For the shaker well, I have some foam. This isn't quite as thick as the pre-made insert refill, but it's I think it's going to be plenty thick for the confetti, because the confetti isn't very dimensional. And the larger of the two circles, now in the pre-made shaker component that you buy as part of the refill, that one measures 1 3/8 of an inch. So that's what you're aiming for, 1 3/8. My die cut's about 1/16 of an inch larger, so mine's actually about 1 7/16 of an inch. But that's okay. I mean, it's pretty darn close. So then what I'm gonna do is line up my two circles, and I'm gonna die cut them together to create that ring. It's just easier for me to eyeball like an even distance all the way around. So I think that looks like it's about even. So I'll tape them both down really well and then cut. And that's gonna give me two pieces actually it's gonna give me more than that. So don't throw any of the extra, because this is all foam. You can use this as, you know, on cards and stuff. So we have this, which is really kind of, you know, scrap, or I mean, you could toss it. It's not a ton of waste. Then we have the circle on the inside. Totally save and use that. And then we have what we want, which is that ring of the well here, shaker well. Okay, so first thing, this is what we're trying to make here. This is what we're trying to replicate. And there's already adhesive back here, so I can peel up the liner and attach the acetate to the back of this. Now with the pre-made one that you buy, they do a kiss cut, so that there's actually a line that makes it really easy to peel up the liner. This is a little bit more tricky, because this was just a full sheet of adhesive that I cut into. Okay, now you want to put your clear acetate, this is the acetate, and line that up with the frame. And then I'm gonna give that a really good burnish. Make sure it's really well stuck down. Okay, so then I need my shaker well here. And this, my foam happened to have adhesive already on one side. So I can just peel that off. And then line this up, so those two inner apertures, they were cut using the same die, so they should line up perfectly. Look at that. So the white version is the We Are Makers version. This black frame here that I'm creating is my replica. So there we go. Now on the pre-made one, there's adhesive on here, because now when we go to put all this together, this needs to attach to that, and it needs to stick down onto it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a dotty tape runner, and I'm just gonna run some adhesive all the way around the border of this. Okay, so this, and the reason why I'm using a dotty tape runner is because this has a scalloped edge. It's just going to go where it needs to go. And I'm just going to eyeball, because you can aim to get, you know, anywhere kind of maybe about 1/4 of an inch or so inwards. And so I'm just aiming for that or less. And I am putting adhesive on the pretty side because this has to get attached face down. Oops, when we sandwich it all together. So you can maybe see a little bit of the adhesive. Just want to make sure there's a little bit all the way around. And this is getting adhered onto acetate, so that's why I do tend to like a dry adhesive for attaching things onto acetate, but I just, for a little bit extra, I'm going to put a couple dots of a liquid adhesive just to help it along a little bit. Now we can assemble this in the exact same way that the standard shaker is assembled. So you start with your little shaker piece. This is the replica basically that we've made, and that goes down first inside the base, and then you can fill it with your shaker bits. And then you put your paper face pretty side down, and then you put the cap on top, and then we're gonna press everything together. So okay, so let's see if it worked. All right. Looks like it pressed down. From this side, it looks like we have a shaker. All right, let's see if it made a good seal. I think so. Everything looks pressed together. Oh, perfect. Look at that. So, I know I have plenty of the refills, but it is actually nice to know that I can make my own shaker refills. Now, the this particular insert, you can make your puffy stickers as well, but the puffy stickers are pretty easy because the assembly for them is just, this is basically double-sided adhesive, and it's the same thing I used on the back of my frame here. So you just need double-sided adhesive sheets that you can use the die to cut. And then this circular bit of foam, well, that's just the same as our shaker well, but just you don't have to cut the inner circle out of the center of it. So, you know, and really that piece, it's kind of arbitrary. You could use these smaller ones in the center there, and it just wouldn't, you know, have as large of a circle on the inside, so it might not feel quite as substantial. But if you wanted, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Just use a smaller circle. So this piece is rather arbitrary, so you just need double-sided adhesive sheets, and then you can cut those. But recreating your own shaker component, though, I feel like, especially since the shakers are the ones that I'll likely use the most of, it's nice to be able to just recreate it. And then I don't have to buy more. But, you know, truthfully, what I got in the bundle, I mean, I think it's going to take me a while to get through all of that. But this was fun. And if you did not buy a bundle with the extra refills and you're out of what came in the box, well, now you know how you can make your own. So in my first look video, I decided to dress up the plain white frame, because I mean that's what you get, and it kind of has to be that way unless you cut your own frame. So since I had already figured out how to cut my own frame, and I found a die that was that matched the aperture 100%, then all I needed to do was really, kind of replicate that shaker component, and it wasn't that hard. So lots of fun. I think I'll have fun with these. Now, my foam isn't quite as thick as their foam, but certainly you could definitely get thicker foam. You could double up if you just have your thinner foam. But this is actually nicer in terms of thickness, because then I can put this on top of a card, and it's likely still going to be able to ship for the cost of a single stamp. So that's kind of nice. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.